Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome to day 11 of the 2019 holiday card series. I'm creating a watercolor card today using the Miss Ink stamp set called Woodland Hearth. And I just want to thank Miss Ink for sending me this stamp to feature in the holiday card series. It is available for purchase over at the Not Too Shabby shop, and I will leave the link to the stamp below as well as all of the other products I'm using in the video today. So to get started, I am stamping 3 of the little bunnies on some masking paper, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fussy cut those out on the black line using my Cutterbee fine detail scissors. Once I have those cut out, they can help me create my little scene here. So I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock today, and I adore this stamp set. There's lots of cute images. There's this great little scene here. And I'm just going to add some of the bunnies to the scene. So I wanted to lay out the woodland scene and figure out where I wanted to place my bunnies. I knew that I wanted the little bunny laying down to the right hand side because he's facing the left. And then with the other 2 bunnies facing the right, I wanted to make sure I had them over on the left hand side. So I'm using my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink to stamp out these images, as I will be doing some watercoloring with my beloved distress markers. Once I have the images stamped out, I can go ahead and place the masks down, and then I'm going to bring back the woodland scene and stamp over top of my little bunnies. First of all, I need to wipe up some of the ink that smudged. I did let that dry quite a bit. But while it was drying, I went down and did some dishes, and I think my hands were still a bit damp, so it did transfer some of the ink from the masks. When I stamped out the masks, I used my Fawn ink because it's a dye ink and it will dry a lot quicker than if you use the Versafine Nocturne ink, which is a pigment ink and takes forever to dry. So I thought I was covering my bases, but I shouldn't have gone and done dishes in between filming. So back to the card, I'm removing my masks, and now you can see the cute little bunnies are in our scene here. And I decided to go ahead and stamp the sentiment Merry Christmas from our home to yours in between the little birch trees at the top of the scene. Moving on to the coloring, I am going to be using my distress markers. As I said, I love my distress markers. I've had them for years. And I was going for a really soft palette with this particular image today, and I find out of all of the real brush markers I have, these give me the softest look, and you can kind of get that pastel or just really pretty soft coloring using the distress markers. So I still keep them in my craft room and reach for them every once in a while. So as you can see, I'm just going ahead and I'm laying down the marker where I want my shadows or the darkest areas to be. And then I'm bringing in my Ohuhu water brush here. These are really inexpensive from Amazon and they work great. So I am going to just color up this image with you today. I did speed it up quite a bit just because watercoloring tends to take a little while, especially when you're creating a scene card like this. So I thought maybe we could have a little chit chat while I color, and I thought maybe you'd talk about some of our holiday traditions. So I'm really interested in knowing what some of your holiday traditions are, and I would love if you would leave that in the comments below. I watched a video recently by Crazy Paper Chick, and she was asking people how they decorate their trees. And one of my favorite traditions is actually decorating the Christmas tree. I collect Christmas ornaments from pretty much every place I've traveled, and so bringing out the Christmas decorations is always one of my favorite times of the year. I get to kind of reflect back on my travels, and as I hang those ornaments on the tree, it just is a really nice way to remember some of those really special trips that I've taken. We also have a number of Christmas ornaments from our childhood, which is super fun. So stuff that we made when we were children. as well as some ornaments from my nieces and nephews, which are always fun to bring out every year, especially as they get older, and just kind of remembering when they were so little and cute, and pasting sequins and all these kind of things on the decorations. And I just love pulling those out. In terms of other holiday traditions, we typically spent our holidays in Florida. So for those of you who might be new to my channel, I do live in Canada. And to escape the cold winters, we would often travel down south for the holidays. And it's something that I still love to do as an adult. I'm actually heading down there this year a little bit before Christmas. And I'm going to be meeting up with a few of my crafty friends, and we're going to be hanging out in Orlando this year, going to Disney, and also the Kathy Rakusen Coloring Road Challenge at MFT Stamps. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So going to go down there with Mary Polanco, Amanda Stevens, Jess Francisco from A Card Day's Work, Corin Wiskman, and Tana Lowhouse. And I think it's going to be a blast. And then from there, I'm going to head over to the Tampa area and hang out with my parents for a little bit and just enjoy the holiday season. It was always such a great time to get away. I am definitely not a winter fan, so it never bothered me that I spent Christmas at the beach in the warm sun. I would take that any day over snow, especially if there's freezing rain mixed into that and cold temperatures. Do any of you travel for the holidays? I know a lot of families try to get together over the holidays. And so do you find yourself traveling? Do you bring crafty supplies with you? I am trying to travel light with my crafty supplies this go around, but I find it really hard to be away from crafting. So I'm going to stamp out some images and take them with me to color. Also, I did want to mention there is a meetup in Orlando for anyone who's interested if you're in the area on Saturday, and I should have been more prepared and had that date in front of me, but it is Saturday, December 7th, and we'll be meeting at Disney Springs. I'll leave the information in the description box below. It's a really informal meetup, but we'll all be there and maybe just shopping, getting a bite to eat at Disney Springs. So if you're in the area, we would love to see you. And hopefully the weather is going to be nice and warm while we're there. It's started to get cold here already and not fun in my books. I would rather it be summer all year long. So I envy those of you who live in warm climates year round. I often say I was born in the wrong country, living up here in Canada where it's cold like at least 8 months of the year, in my opinion. So back to the card, I'm just going ahead and coloring all the images as you saw, and I wanted to create a really soft background. So I'm using the Stormy sky for the sky, and I'm just outlining the images with that marker and really pushing that out with the water brush. And for the snow, I still wanted it to have a bit of a blue look, so I'm using the weathered wood. And you're going to see here in a minute, I did add some glitter to the snow just to differentiate it a little bit more from the background. So once I had all my images colored, I decided I wanted a little bit more contrast, so I went back over some of them with the marker again and didn't pull out the color quite as much this go around. I do have my panel here taped down to a cutting board. This I just wanted to do to help minimize the warping. For the stockings, I am using 3 different colors. I used Spun Sugar, Victorian Velvet, and Milled Lavender. That middle stocking turned out to be a little bit more pink the first go around for me. So I do bring in a different color and just go over top of it just to kind of bring back that bright pink color. I did add some blush to our little critters here just to give them a little bit more interest. I think those bunnies are super cute. And now that I have the coloring done, I can go ahead and I'm trying to decide here which pattern paper I want to use behind my panel here. So at first I had the Honeybee Stamps paper pad out, and then I brought in the Echo Park and finally decided on this snowflake paper. I thought it picked up really nicely on the pinks and the greens that I used in the card, but I did try to decipher which one I wanted to use, and it took me quite a while to make that decision. Sometimes it doesn't come as easily as one might think. So I am going to just trim up this panel a little bit so that there's just a little of that pattern paper peeking out of the back. I really don't want to take away from this scene at all. I want the watercolored scene to really be the star of the show. So the pattern paper is cut at A2 size at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I just trimmed down the panel to be 4 by 5 1/4. To finish off, I'm adding some black glaze and white gel pen to my scene here. Not too much this time, just added some polka dots to one of the stockings and then these stripes. And here's where I'm bringing in my Lawn Fawn glitter pen just to trace around that edge of the snow. And I don't know how much it picks up on camera, but it looks really pretty in person and it just looks like glistening snow. So I would love to know what you think about this card. It's a little bit soft for Christmas. I don't know if it gives that Christmas feeling, but I do really like how it turned out, and I hope you've enjoyed this card and little holiday chat with me as well. Here's another video for you to watch. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. As always, the links are below. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye!